The Bayelsa State Chapter of the People's Democratic Party has denied reports that the State Working Committee of the party, headed by Solomon Agwana, has been dissolved by the factional Zonal Executive Committee, headed by Dan Orbi, and replaced by a State Caretaker Committee. The Delta State PDP chapter is also reported to have been dissolved in a like manner. For the true position of things, we are now being joined by the chairman, Bayelsa State PDP Caretaker Committee, Judge Turnah, who doubles as the party's South-South Zonal Secretary. He will talk us through the legality or otherwise of this action in view of the party's rejection of the Zonal Committee and the constitution of a Caretaker Committee by Emmanuel Ogidi to oversee the South-South. Good afternoon and welcome to Newsday, Mr. Turnah.
Okay, thank you very much. But first, I need to clear a misconception. The South-South zone of the PDP has just one leadership, and that is the leadership under Chief Dan Orbi. As of today, you recall that on the 4th of April 2025, the Federal High Court in Abuja, presided over by the Honorable Justice I.E. Ekpo, did make an order in the interim validating the leadership of Chief Dan Orbi and his working committee as the authentic leadership of the party in the South-South zone as of today, and also restrained the PDP from interfering from the activities and affairs of the party in the zone under Chief Dan Orbi, and also restrained the party, the PDP, from relating, dealing, interacting, or having anything whatsoever to do with the caretaker, illegal caretaker committee said to be led by Chief Emma Ogidi. So the PDP is a party that respects the rule of law, and when that ruling order was made, Chief Emma Ogidi himself was in court, I was in court, all parties were represented, and I have the order of court. So it's important that until such a time that the court says otherwise, the PDP in the South-South zone has just one leadership, and there's no faction. I needed to clarify, make that explanation very clearly. Now, yesterday we did have a zonal executive committee meeting, a zonal working committee meeting, and in line with our party's constitution, if you look at Article 26, Sub 2 of our party's constitution, highlights the functions of the zonal working committee, right? And the main thing there is that the zonal working committee is to undertake the administration of the party at the zonal level and shall be responsible to the zonal executive committee. Now, it acts on behalf of the zonal executive committee. What does the zonal executive committee do by our constitution? Article 27 2 clearly states that the functions of the zonal executive committee shall include to harmonize, coordinate, and review all activities of the party within the zone. And it goes on to say in Article Sub 2B, establish ad hoc or standing committees of the party within the zone. And then the most important is that Sub 2E, carry out any other functions assigned to it by the National Executive Committee. Now, we took a review, holistic review, in line with this constitution and in line with our function, of the activities of the party across the zone. And we came to the conclusion rightly so, that in Bayelsa and Edo states, facts available reveals that there was the urgent need, to take immediate steps in salvaging the party. Otherwise, in a few days or a few weeks, we might not even have, a party in these two states. And look, leadership is about taking responsibility and being decisive. And we took that bold decision to say, look, gentlemen, you have to step aside. We have powers to establish committees, whether it is ad hoc or standing, right? We have powers to supervise, to review activities. And when you have powers to review activities and then you are not satisfied, what do? There are powers that are inherent. And the constitution will not spell out everything. So we did that, and it is in line with the constitution. But let me even take you to Article 46, which is also very important. Article 46 is to the effect of the powers exercisable by national officers of the party. And it says that, look, 46(1), it says, except where the provisions of this constitution states otherwise, all other officers at the zonal, state, local government, and ward level shall, in relation to their respective functions, have the same powers as their corresponding national officers. So what it means is that whatever the national officers of the party can sit and do, we at the zonal level, within the confines, of our powers, scope of our powers as allowed by this constitution, can do the same. Now, it is also important to highlight that the omnibus powers available to us, inherent in us, is such that we can even act, take decisions and do anything insofar the National Executive Committee agrees with it. Now we have taken a decision. The National Executive Committee have not said otherwise, right? And people just wake up and, we don't have the powers. How do you know? The Constitution have said we can even act with other powers as ceded by the National Executive Committee. Has the National Executive Committee come up to say, no, we didn't give these powers?
Please allow me to interrupt you.
They haven't done so.
Now, we have a statement signed by ABA Agu Ogoli, and he says that the National Working Committee had pronounced the zonal PDP Congress, which held in Calabar, that produced Chief Dan Obi, as unconstitutional and a nullity. It also says, we place it on record that the zonal ESCO of the party, even when it is properly constituted, still lacks the constitutional powers to dissolve a state working committee of the party. I'd like you to react to that.
Exactly. Now, all I have been trying to do is to justify the powers available at our disposal as a zonal, leadership to dissolve and appoint committees, which we have done. Now, what A.B. Ogol is saying, that the PDP National Working Committee said whatever about the zonal congress in Calabar, can that equate with a valid and subsisting order of court? I mean, we are in a country where people should respect the rule of law. This is a valid and subsisting order of court, which says that this leadership under Danobe that emerged at the Calabar Congress is valid in the interim until the otherwise is stated. So A.B. Ogoli's personal opinion or whatever he feels, as a former immediate past publicity secretary of the dissolved Bayelsa State Working Committee, cannot, by any standard, be compared or equated with a valid and subsisting order of court. We are standing on the rule of law. Constitutionalism is, look, PDP must abide by its own rules. You make a rule for yourself. This is the party's constitution. We are not going outside what the constitution has said. Now, if anybody has issues, right, with what we have done. We have taken an action. The court have said we are the legitimate for the now. Now we have taken an action as legitimate leadership in the zone. You can test it. That is the beauty of democracy. The dissolved ESCO, led by the former immediate past chairman now, Solomon Agwanana, and his team, can test it. Nothing is final. You test it and let the appropriate establishments or systems of government, the judiciary, or come to say, look, this is where your power starts, this is where your power ends. This one you have done it in line, or you have not done it in line, or you didn't do it in line. They are free. But the important thing is that, sir, today an action has been taken on behalf of the party, and it stands until the otherwise is done. So Ebi Ogole, I mean, with all due respect, my brother, but the constitution and the order of court comes superior to whatever his personal feelings, would be. And I must tell you, look, this constitution, and what we did, let me be very clear, we did not dissolve the Bayelsa State Executive Committee of the PDP. We dissolved the Bayelsa State Working Committee. Because by our constitution, it is only NEC that may, where necessary, dissolve the Executive Committee of a state. Even though we can act, in powers relying that the NEC has ceded such powers to us until NEC says otherwise.
Sorry,
but we didn't dissolve the Executive Committee.
Yeah,
we dissolved the Working Committee.
I would like to come in now, and I would like to ask, you've mentioned in your constitution, which I'm assuming is the PDP constitution, that only NEC has the power to dissolve the executive committee. So is the power in the constitution to dissolve the working committee? I would like an answer to that question. And the second question is, why were these committees dissolved in Bayelsa, Edo, and Delta states?
No, we didn't dissolve in Delta. We dissolved for Bayelsa and Edo. Now, like I have earlier noted, whatever NEC can do, because NEC doesn't function every day. The NEC does not function day to day. It is a working committee. So whatever NEC can do, the National Working Committee can act on behalf of NEC. The Zonal Working Committee can act on behalf of NEC. Like I've read out, the last function of the Zonal Working Committee and even the Zonal Executive Committee is that they can perform every other function that may be assigned to it from time to time by the NEC. So if NEC can dissolve, that means that we can dissolve and then wait for NEC, to do the rest of ratification and all of it, NEC can also review and say, okay, you dissolved, let them be suspended for 1 month. Let it not be a total dissolution. So all of that are remedies available to them. But what is important is that today, an action has been taken legitimately and validly so under our constitution and within our powers, right? They also have their right to now activate several other levels of appeals and whatever they want to do with it. Then secondly, you talked about what they did. Look, we said we reviewed the activities of the party across the states of the zone, which is in line with our function in the constitution. And we came to the conclusion there were several petitions that guided our review. For Bayelsa, for instance, protracted crisis. A whole lot of we have several cases. The state chairman, the former immediate past chairman now, himself a party in several court cases. And this constitution states clearly that nobody should go to court except to have exhausted available internal mechanisms for dispute resolution. So we wondered. We reviewed our situation here. We have not received any complaints from the Bayelsa State Working Committee as to issues relating to conflicts. But there are avalanche of court cases, including the former chairman himself as a party. And the constitution is clear that whenever such happens, dissolution is part of the consequences that follows. I can even get it out and tell you the specific section. There are sanctions. Any member of the party who commits any offense listed in section, so that is what we have done. In Edo case, you saw the woeful performance of the party during the last government election, and it was as a result of protracted crisis, unresolvable crisis, as a result of poor handling of the party administration in that state. And it did cost us Edo State governorship. Now we are headed for another general election in 2027. Who does that? No serious-minded leader or leadership will sit back and allow Bayelsa to go the way it's going, the way of Edo, and then allow Edo to remain as it is when we have serious elections coming.
Mr. We needed to rescue very loud and clear.
We needed to be decisive. We have
heard you very loud and clear. But I would just like to ask,
back on.
Earlier you mentioned that there are several court cases, and I'll take you back to the statement, from Ebie Okoli. He also says that you, Mr. George Turnah, remain suspended from membership of the PDP in Bayelsa State because the State High Court, which sat in respect of the suspension slammed on you by the State High School of the PDP, is yet to determine the case that was brought before it. So I would like you to react to that. And if that is true, should you then be holding brief for the PDP?
Oh, thank you very much. Now, you see, the first thing is that our concern is clear. The State Working Committee have no power to suspend a higher officer, right, at the zonal level. But they did that. First of all, they tried to get my ward leadership, Ogbea Ward 9, to suspend my membership, which the ward alone can do. The gentlemen there refused. So the State Working Committee is part of the impunity that led to their dissolution. The State Working Committee, knowing that they don't have such powers, they sat and acted in contravention of the Constitution and said they have suspended me. Now, I was supposed to be the one running to court to challenge their powers, but I didn't do that. I followed the Constitution. The Constitution said when you are suspended or there are any such, you appeal to the next level of leadership. So I did appeal the suspension, the alleged suspension by the Bayelsa State Working Committee to the zonal level, and that suspension was lifted. Clearly, I am not under any suspension. So they on their own, knowing that they have done a wrong thing, they have acted in contravention of the Constitution, ran to court. Can you imagine? Ran to court to go and be asking court, do we have powers to suspend him? Determine if we have power. You have already taken the action, a wrong action. You now ran to court, only you. But for court to determine whether what you have done, was right or wrong. And the court have held that what they did was right. So that is only to the extent that the court have agreed. I'm coming. That is to the extent that the court agreed that they can suspend. Now, the court cannot suspend a member of a party. No court can do that. The court can only say, okay, what you have done is right, what you have done is wrong. Now, assuming the court have even said that what they did was right, that thing they did that was right have been undone by the zonal executive, which is a higher level in line with our Constitution. So there is no suspension anywhere. None at all. None exists. No court can say, so member of a party is hereby suspended. No court will do that. But the court can say, okay, you suspended your member, you are right, you are wrong. Okay. But the Constitution also allows for how that suspension can be lifted. And that has been followed and it has been done. So there is no suspension anywhere whatsoever.
Well, thank you for joining us, Mr. Turnah. As you've advised other people to go to court, maybe you will also go to court on your suspension. I guess we'll see. But thank you so much for joining us today on Newsday. There's plenty much.
There's no suspension.
Thank you very much for joining.
The party is very clear.
Okay.
I don't need to go to court. I needed to do was to appeal to higher organs.
Okay.
And I've done that, and the suspension is
Thank you for joining us.